Hey, welcome to Sometimes You Have to Lose Yourself. Sorry, no intro today, but we will have an outro of our fabulous song that Marv and I created, and I will play that later because I ain't I ain't trying to mess up today, and I did mess up, so
That's
it
okay.
is what it is, man. Um,
It's in it's in our hearts, right? It's in our
yeah,
heart.
it's
So
in our hearts, and I'm glad I caught that before it went on. Oh my
thank
God,
you.
that would have
Appreciate
been
that.
that wouldn't have been good. So, um, yeah.
So
We we are doing our thing today. We have your friend, um, Kevin
special
Simon's
guest.
coming on, man. I can't
Special
wait, man.
guest. I can't wait either, man.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
you know,
Can't wait.
he
Um
was,
yeah, it should be a special show. Another special show.
of course.
And I'm excited that people are joining in, people are listening, and we're all learning something from it. So I'm excited for everybody who gets an opportunity to check us out weekly. We will continue to do this for the foreseeable future,
Mm-hmm.
and I look forward to connecting with everybody when they come on. I
Good.
think he'll probably join us in a few minutes.
Okay.
Um, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with something I've been thinking about. Something we kind of piece together some things here and there, and we talk about positive intentions, right? And I think about words. Words mean a lot. Words are extremely powerful, right?
Yeah.
And they're powerful for all of us. And I think everything's like so connected in our words and our thoughts and our whole intentions, right?
Yes.
And you can start to really enhance this by just having like powerful words in your house, books, etc. Whether it's a Bible, whether it's a Quran, whether it's a Torah. So,
Mm-hmm.
and just things around you that say thank you, I love you. Love you is a very powerful frequency. And I think about this thing called love. It's extremely important, right?
Yes.
And think about all this really is a frequency, right? It's a powerful frequency we can have and really expand from ourselves. Um, you think about I think we talked last week about water and the frequency you put to water can change everything.
Mm-hmm.
Flowers, you can change flowers around you and stuff like that, but just the frequency emitting. Um, I think about now. This is truly science. This isn't like science fiction. This is like serious science, right? It makes a whole lot of sense, right? Where
Yes.
you can have a negative thought and a bunch of them in a row, right? Because everything like stacks on top of another, right? And you think about how if you would look under the microscope or if you were to freeze it, you can see the crystals. The crystals will change up by your frequency, whether it's something negative, you're thinking or feeling and all that. It can change the frequency in like flowers or water. Now, if your body's 70, 80% water, right?
Yeah.
What do you think that's doing to the frequency in your body when you're doing that? That's just a simple question, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is really scientifically how much harm it does. You think about water in your body, and water is water, whether it's your body or a cup of water, like I usually have, right? Got the
Mm-hmm.
dad jokes cup today.
Yep.
And I got another one too. This is one
Mm-hmm.
of my favorite, dream, right?
Nice.
So,
You know what? I have a lot of coffee mugs, and I think maybe we're gonna do that. We'll have a routine thing where we'll show each other's coffee mugs for the day, for the
yeah,
night.
it's true.
Um,
Hey, think about it. Your words have a positive impact in your life.
yes.
I'm gonna give you something new this week.
Okay.
Something new this week, right? The expanded golden rule. Okay, Charlie, what is the golden rule, man?
Um, well, let's see. I think our message is always trying to be uh be happy
Do
and
unto others as they do to you, right?
yep.
The golden rule. Let's expand it, right?
Mhm.
So to expand it, talk to others, right? As you want to be talked to, right?
Yes.
So that's the expanding it, right? Talk about other people, how you want to be talked about when you're not around, right?
Mm. Yes.
Because that's powerful, right?
Yes, it is.
Remember, we're going back to this water thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going back to that. And you talk about people judging people and all this other stuff, right? You got to think about that, man. And I'll come to that in a minute, right? And the next thing, think about others how you would want them to think about you, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So it really goes further than that because it's like you think about self talk, no negative self talk, think positive thoughts. And so those are the three expanded golden rules, right? Because when you think about it, when you have these things and you're putting it out there, right?
Yeah.
First off, you're damaging yourself. And then on top of that, it's going to come back to bite you. And I want to make sure that's 1,000% clear, everybody. You do that enough time, it's going to come back to bite you.
I agree.
Think about people out here trying to do for others and they do this. And I've heard, I was talking to one of my old directors, old store manager, think about the company I was with, old store manager, and she's going through a tough time.
Yeah.
And she was talking about, she had a test to see if she had ADHD. She said, you don't think I ever said or did anything that may have seemed opposite. No, not at all. I said, as a matter of fact, I like people who are like that because it's so different than the norm. And
Mm-hmm.
those people should be celebrated.
I get it.
I think about when we had Joy on here, right? She's a
Mm-hmm.
bowl of positivity, right? And I
Yes.
think about the frequency she would have with that, right? You think about what you put. Now let's go back to what we were talking about before. Remember the water crystals, right? When you have that hate in your gut, you like say bad things about people, bad thoughts about people, think bad thoughts about people. Those things are affecting you, and you pay more than they do.
Mm.
So you have to be mindful of what you say and what you do, because it's going to be a reciprocal effect. It's going to go round and round, round and round and round, kind of like merry-go-round, right?
Yeah. What goes
So,
around comes around, right?
yeah,
As they always saying.
absolutely, man. So, you gotta treat yourself, treat yourself well. You put that out, right? You're gonna think these thoughts, say these positive things, feel these great things about others, right? You got to make sure you take care of yourself, right? Because self love is incredibly important. That could
Mm.
be what you eat, what you drink, how you exercise. You taking care of that body you got, that one body you got. Are you taking care of it? Um, and just the whole thing. This I want to go back to this number 3 on expanded golden rule. When you think about others, right?
Yeah.
When you even start to go down that road of criticizing or thinking about somebody, you can change your thinking in midstream and have grace for them, have love, less judgment. Those things make all the difference in the world. How we can continue to make this a better world, way better world, man. Um, about forgiving. You can forgive people, give them grace instead of criticizing. Um, you think about people who go on and challenge people and criticize. You say to yourself, that's kind of sad. What else could be done? And then how does that make them feel 5 or 10 seconds after they say these not so nice things about somebody?
Mm-hmm.
So it could come back, and you can reframe that in the instance. We all make mistakes. What's in the past is what the past. Send love and compassion. You can always say things like the immediate reframe, like you could think to yourself, I'm canceling that, right? Because we all get in this thing where we criticize and we may judge, right? So you got to
Yeah.
think about that. Um, I will say it once again. What you show is what you reap, 1,000 times over. And if you don't believe me, go back to that water example I was talking about, because that is true science. So that's what I had um, as my intro. And I
Yep.
know we'll do an outro, but I wanted to go into an intro with that, with the expanded golden rule. It goes beyond treating others how you want to be treated. It could be thinking the way you want others to treat you and how you think about them, right? So, I mean, all these things matter to make a better world.
Makes
So,
sense.
yeah.
The I I try to I don't know. I think I'm more in tune to treating my colleagues as I want to be treated.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
it's only to kind of just at least pass on my good vibe. Like it's so difficult for some of my colleagues to say good morning,
Mm,
how you doing,
yeah.
um, have a great weekend, and so I see that I'm one of the I won't say few, I would say, let me see, I would say some that do that on a frequent basis, and but I'm trying to pass it on to those that don't do it, and not
Imagine that.
that yeah, not that my way is the best way, but I think it at least starts the day off right, or ends the week right, or does something
It does.
positive,
It, it
positive.
it does. It just. I mean, ultimately, it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Makes the other person feel better. I mean, you think about it, you truly, we're all connected on so many different levels, right? And
Hmm.
you got to think about it, how that frequency can spread and it can multiply. Um, if you set an intention, say, you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna put a smile on the face of 3 people I meet.
Hmm.
Imagine that, right?
I mean,
And I
I
want to
think
make
I
sure,
think yeah, I'll
and
definitely do that.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I'm not saying this to be all hope and pie in the sky. I'm saying this stuff, there's science that backs this up. It is real. It's real stuff here. And
Uh,
so I think about that all the time, man. I think about,
I believe it because I'm practicing what you're preaching, and I try to do that all the time, and I truly think that
makes all the difference.
yeah, it does. It
Instead
sure
of
does.
setting your intentions, imagine if you set the intention that has overarching benefit for everybody else, where you're approaching this as like, you know what? I'm going to do this for someone else.
Hmm.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you're going to benefit by thinking that way. You are going to benefit. The person's going to benefit, but you're going to benefit as well. Imagine that. You know how we talk about we're all connected? Well, boom, there you go.
That's nice. I truly I like that. The Marvin, just excuse me while I share this podcast on your page. I didn't do that yet.
That's
But
okay.
go ahead, continue to talk.
Yeah, we'll have the thing at the end where I can share it on my page. You can share it now,
Mhm.
but we can share it later.
Okay.
I think it's about time to get Kevin on here. Where is he at?
I think he's in the bathroom. He's an older dude. He's got a he might have some problems. Got to go to the
No,
bathroom first. Something like
he's
that.
he's not that, he's younger than me, man.
He is. Oh man, my bad, man. Kevin, I'm only joking. There we go, man.
It's all
What's
good,
going
brothers.
on, man?
What's up, my brother?
Everything is everything. Appreciate y'all
Everything is
having.
everything, man.
Yeah, I
Well,
appreciate this. I think it's the old soul you're probably referring to. So I
yeah,
take it as a
definitely.
compliment.
I
That's
got
right.
one of those
Yes.
too, and
Yep.
excuse my mistakes.
Yeah, he got
I've
one of
been
them old songs too.
I've been hanging with Marvin for quite a long time, so sometimes I make mistakes, and
That's right.
he's, he's
I make a share of them.
well,
I think
everyone. I want you to get ready for this powerful conversation we are going to have with Kevin Simons from New York Life, and this dude is amazing. He decided that he wanted to get away from the Northeast, so he went out west, and he found some gold. His career is lifted. His career is doing well, according to Marvin. And I'm just glad that we got a good brother like you on this podcast to make this podcast beautiful, make this podcast inspiring, and that's why we have you on here because we have behind the scenes conversations. Marvin and I we talk about you and he said we got to get him on here. We got to get him on here. And the first time we tried, and things happen. People are lifing, and you had to
Life,
take care of business. You had to take
life,
care of
life.
business,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
and then here you are. You're back. You're
We're,
back,
we're,
and
we're so glad to have you.
yeah.
I'm going to embarrass you for a few minutes, if that's
Okay.
all
I expect
So-
nothing less.
right. I mean, here's my brother here. I first met him when I was looking for a DJ for my wedding
hmm
almost 12 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kevin was referred to us, and we met him, and we were going through songs, and he'd probably tell you the story about the song I walked out to. I still listen to that song, Kevin.
Oh yeah. It's classic.
Yeah, that song is classic, right? And so,
Wait. What song is it? What's wrong with you? You can't do that, man.
we know after he speaks, we're gonna get it on here, and we're gonna laugh because you can play the first couple minutes of that one. So,
Okay. Sounds
but
good.
I was like, this brother's cool. I was like, he's got kind of the same vibe I got. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay. So he did, and listen, he did an amazing job
Thank
at the
you.
wedding. He's an incredible
you. That means a
DJ,
lot. Thank you.
and not only is he an incredible DJ, I was like, listen, we should kind of hang out. So he told me about his soon to be wife, and we all hung out. And Kevin's got a beautiful family. He's got an amazing wife. I love his
Nice.
children.
God bless. Blessings, man. Blessings.
I love his dad. His dad's so super cool, and his wife. So, we had a chance to see them during the holidays. But I will say, Kevin is such an upstanding dude because throughout the years of what I've been going through, he's been there. They always invite me over for dinner or things to do, and he's been this has been my brother. This has been
That's great.
somebody. He's one of the top people I know, and I'm grateful to have in my life. He's always there. We go out and have our coffee talks and all that, and we just saw the Super Bowl together. So this guy right here is the real deal. And so I'm grateful. Love this brother. And I'm grateful to have in my life. I'm grateful to call him a brother. And
Same.
that's why I wanted to have him come on, just to share what he does and, as a financial advisor, all the great thing he does to help people. So
Yeah. Timothy Wright says that that's my guy, Kevin. He's a great guy.
Oh, that's my other brother. That's my other brother right there for another mother.
There you go.
Good.
There you go. There you go. He's somebody that's well loved. He does what's right for people. He's always there to provide a helping hand, and I can just go on and on and on. So, thank you, Kevin, for just being
Thank you.
great dude, man.
Again, thank you for having me in the space. I appreciate you sharing those kind words, brother. I mean, I echo the same thing. When you and I met, it was like kindred spirits, and
That's
I
right.
think we hit it off right away. And up until this day, we've been brothers, and so that I always cherish our friendship and our brotherhood, and I have a feeling I'm gonna get in real close and tight with this brother Charlie that I'm just meeting for the first time as well.
Together, man.
Well, all three of us are Sages, man.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Let's put that out there.
There you go.
You got three Sages, right? So there you go.
That's nice. Beautiful. Yeah.
That,
It's
that
there's no doubt, Kevin, that you got me for a lifetime until you block me or something like that, you know. So we just
I
Yeah,
think I've never had to block anybody.
yeah, no.
no, I
But
get that.
I
I
try
can't
not.
say the same, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
true.
So,
That's it.
um, we're glad to have you on to impart your knowledge. So, please take it away, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. I will do my best. Again, thank you. Very grateful to be on here to be able to talk and share a little bit about what I've learned and I'm continuing to learn over the years. Um, Marvin, again, this is an honor opportunity for me to be on here. I've been wanting to do something with you for a while now. We know we've talked about it, so I'm glad you actually pushed me to say, "Hey, brother, come on, let's go ahead and do it." So thank you again.
My pleasure.
Uh, so yeah, just share a little bit of background about me. I know Charlie, you kind of mentioned it. Originally from the East Coast. You might hear my accent come in and out every now
Mm,
and then. It's a mixture of East Coast, down south, and maybe a little bit of West Coast, probably. But you're gonna hear a little bit of everything coming from me. Hopefully, it's all the right things. I would say at the end of the day, don't mind my accent. So yeah, so originally from the East Coast, born and raised in a small city, Providence, small state, Rhode Island.
mm,
Lived there most of my life. Did some traveling, hung out with some great people. We had a village of people that we hung out with, a great community. The brother Tim, who's on the line right now, is one of my brothers from back in the day.
nice.
A really great group of people. A lot of folks, when I mention Rhode Island, they say, well, are there black people in Rhode Island? I'm like, yeah, you're looking at one, first of all. But a lot of my friends and their families, like the older generations migrated from down south, as in most places, and they came up north, ended up in Rhode Island. My dad, family side of the family from Louisiana, my mom's side of the family from Georgia, and so they both migrated up north, ended up meeting in Rhode Island, and then you know here I am. So, after spending some time in the snow, literally got stuck in the snowstorm for about 7 hours in about 2008,
Hmm.
I decided I was going to make a move to California. I had been
Mm,
thinking about it prior to that, but it became official being stuck in the car driving from Pawtucket, Rhode Island to Providence, Rhode Island, which is normally a 15-minute drive, but that day it was 7 hours. Uh,
Hmm.
mm,
so I then packed up my 1989 Volvo 850, and along with my sister, we took the trek from East
mm,
Coast to the West Coast. Took us about 7 days. We stopped at all of our families, houses along the way, all up and down the
mm.
East Coast, all up and down south. And
Nice.
then 7 days later, we arrived here in California, 2008,
Wait a
September.
minute. Hey, real quick. So you drove along the coast and went over.
We drove down the coast from Rhode Island. We went all the way down. We didn't go to Florida. Drove all the way down to Georgia, but
And
we
went
stopped
over.
along the way in Connecticut, New York,
Oh man.
Philly, Virginia, Carolinas, and then Georgia, and then trekked over to Louisiana to see my folks there, and then stopped over to see some friends in Texas, and then we shot our way all the way over to
Hmm.
Cali there.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a cool trip, man. 7 days.
Yeah, that was a rough trip for me, man. I drove it
Mm,
straight from North Carolina up to Tennessee over. I'm glad you had somebody with you. I was a solo person going
Oh
across.
man, it was a
So
blessing. Man. My sister, man, she rolled with me, man. We had a blast.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you had your sister with you.
that's nice. The
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. That's it. That was pretty much it, man. I made my trek, got out here, and then I just found my way. Started working. Did a lot of work in entertainment for a while, first couple of years or so, and then transitioned into working in mental health. Did that for a number of years. All along the side, I was, still working in entertainment, still DJing, still working in film and television. And but while I was working in mental health, I noticed that there was gaps in the people I was working with, gaps in terms of how they thought and different types of cycles that they would be going through that were continuous. And I had also a background in education and the background, working in finance. I had my MBA and everything else. So for me, I noticed a lot about the people I work with not having the right information or the right opportunities to make better for themselves and for their families. I noticed that they were in a continuous cycle of lack of financial information. They were in a continuous cycle of just not knowing, what to do or having a solid plan, what to do with their money, what to do with retirement, what to do with, you know, when they get old, having, long term care and self care for themselves. Um, so it became just an initial thought at first, just like, wow, how can I help people in a different way? Because what I was doing was great. I was helping out, foster kids. I was, supporting a team, a great team, but I felt like there was something missing. A few things happened, you know, shortly after that. Some very personal things happened in my life, which kind of helped me transition into where I'm at now. And if it's okay, I'll share it. I don't want to bring
Please.
the
Of
show
course.
down, but major death in my family. My mother passed away, and that was kind of one of the biggest motivations in terms of me making a move and transitioning and doing something different in my life. I was kind of at a crossroad prior to when she passed away, because I was like, I'm working in mental health. I don't think I'm making that much of an impact. And then when she passed, it was kind of like, okay, I definitely can't do this anymore. I need to. Like, I physically couldn't walk inside the building where I was working at the time. It just wouldn't work. I would drive there, and Sutton was telling me, man, you can't get out this car. You
Mm,
can't walk in this building.
mm,
And so all these different things started happening. These little signs and signals. I didn't know what it meant. So, 2020, COVID hit. Of course, a lot of people were affected by that. My mom got sick at that time, and her conditions progressed up until about 2023. So that's when she passed. But at the time, when I was kind of figuring out what my next step was going to be, it's just interesting how you get these different signals and these different shifts of energy, and people on the same wavelength as you are. As I'm kind of sitting there with my head down, just trying to figure out my next step in life, I get a random phone call from one of my good buddies I went to school with in Florida, my buddy Rod. And Rod calls, and he's telling me that he just took a leap of faith from his job. He was working at AT&T. He was a higher up there, and he had made a major move. But he was, of course, a little concerned, because again, he kind of had to take two steps back in order to take a couple of steps forward, right? And so I asked him, I said, Rod, why are you calling me? Like right now, why are you calling me right now? And, he said, I don't know. Something told me to call you.
Mm.
So turns out his, his leap of faith was actually part of my inspiration, because I said, hey, man, I am currently at this time trying to figure out my next step in life. And he said, well, let's figure it out together. And that's what we did. We brainstormed. We went through a bunch of different things that we were going to do together. We were going to put some money in different types of businesses, and it just still didn't seem right with me. I had applied for different financial companies because, like I said, I had my MBA. But when I got with this one company, it just seemed like it was a perfect fit for me. It seemed like it was going to give me the opportunity that I wanted to be able to help and support people the way I knew I can help and support people. I have to also interject and say something else happened prior to this. I also spoke to my brother Marvin. He also had given me some inspiration for making this leap of faith. He was a brother who said to me years prior, hey man, I just had to go ahead and do what I had to do. He left his position. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, brother.
No, go
He
ahead.
left his corporate position and he made a leap of faith to bank on his own value and skill set. And I kept that in the back of my head. And I was like, well, I know my brother Marvin can do it. I can also do it too. But I wasn't ready at the time. So again, fast forward, all these things started happening in my life. My brother Rod calls me up. He's telling me his story. I figure out the best place for me to land at was working in finance and working in financial planning and helping people and supporting people in the community. Now, things have happened since I made that decision. Things that tell me it was the right decision. I will say this, my first client that I met with, this is what kind of told me that I was doing the right thing. First client, ever client I met with, you know, we did a policy on this client. We did a budget. You know, we planned out, you know, her finances. She later told me once we finished the deal, signed everything, and she was good to go, and she had the sign that says you are now a policy owner. She told me that she went into her car and she started to cry.
Hmm.
She let out grown people tears. And I didn't get it at first, but she explained further. And she said, you know, all of my adult life, I've been hoarding my money because I didn't know when I was going to get, you know, my next pay, my next income. I didn't know how secure it was going to be. I didn't have a plan on what to do with my money. So I always put it in a place where I knew I had to protect it and put in, you know, just keep it, you know, and not do anything because I was so afraid of losing it.
Mm-hmm.
So when she met with me, we put together a plan. We put together a budget. We put together, you know, some things I was going to help her be more comfortable with knowing that she had a foundation in place that she could then go ahead and put some money aside for her first ever vacation. She's never taken a vacation before.
Oh wow,
This person was in their 30s.
wow.
Wow.
Hope it was
So
a great vacation.
it was a great vacation. And she's been on several since then, since we first, you know, since we met. But
That's great.
the thing is that I didn't realize how impactful it was to do what I was doing. And I, you know, I think we can talk more about this, of course, but I think, you know, when you kind of hear people in this kind of industry working in finance, especially with us, there's some, you know, some kind of bad feelings and some not positive experiences that have come with it. And so one of my goals is to change that perception, is to change those experiences for a lot of people. And, you know, when I spoke to this young lady and she told me what she did, it just made a hell of a difference. You know, it told me that I was in the right place. It told me I was doing the right thing. And I knew from that point on that this is what I was meant to do. You know, I knew I was meant to help people in this way because not only that, I knew that no one in my community, or I would say not no one, but very few people in my community knew about this, knew about financial planning, knew about how to prepare for the future, knew about how to create generational wealth. It just didn't exist. We didn't have these conversations at the dinner table. You know, we didn't have these conversations hanging out. They were very far and few. So for
Sure.
me, it was important to be able to find a way to not only gain the knowledge, but also to share this information with the community, you know, and help people, you know, the best way I know how to, you know, is to share and educate. So maybe a little long winded, my apologies, but
No,
just
I'm
wanted
glad. I'm glad.
that,
I'm glad. You
yeah,
know
that,
what? I'm kind of surprised you didn't say more about your incredible wife and the household you have because I'm sure that has inspired you. You know, with the boys and all that. You guys have a you guys got a great synergy going. And I
thank
feel it every time around you guys. It's like, oh man, they got kids are incredibly bright.
thank
And
you.
Just the love I always feel around you guys. I always enjoy coming around because I know what I'm gonna get. I know I'm gonna get every time. So um, I know that's always been a sense of pride for you. You know, family and just the synergy around that.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. The synergy with family. Again, the way I grew up was definitely community oriented in the village. Great loving parents. So had great examples, right? Same thing with my wife. When we met, we hit it off right away. She has been my rock and my support system from day one. And for me, when I took this leap of faith to go into this business, it was a scary thing.
Hmm.
It was I didn't have a safety net. I actually burned the bridge and the boat. Because it was kind of like now or never, do or die type situation. And
Right.
I didn't give 2 weeks notice at my job or anything like that. I just said I'm out because I
Well,
believe in it so much.
they'd got rid of your ass. They wouldn't have been like, Kevin, we're giving you
Would
2 weeks. We're gonna
They,
get rid
truth
of you.
be
So,
told, they would have. They
yeah,
wouldn't have waited for 2 weeks. They would have been like, "Thank you, peace
yeah,
out, deuces."
you can
So
get your check on Friday. So
you
totally
know,
agree. And
but
listen,
I hooked them up though. I'm the type of person, this too, Marvin. I don't leave you hanging. So before I left, even though I left short notice, I hooked them up. I had already prepared someone to take over my position. I already prepared my team, letting them know,
it's a great thing.
not so many words, but letting them know, hey, I'm about to be out.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
about to be out. You guys are going to have to figure this out. But I prepped them as much as I could prior to me leaving. So all they needed to do when I left was just give me my paperwork, and they could have just mailed that to me. I was fine. So
Hmm.
I didn't leave them hanging. So I think they were just more upset that they probably couldn't let me go. I mean, I wasn't a bad worker or anything like that, but I think, like you said, Marvin, if they would have had the opportunity, they would have let me go first and wouldn't have given me any notice. But I mean, my point of the whole story was that, I took a leap of faith. I didn't have a safety net. And my rock, my wife, she was the one who was like, you can do this. He gave me the strength, the courage, and the support to do it. And
That's the benefit.
that
That's
was,
the
Yeah.
benefit. Charlie, I've been saying this since we started this. Is like,
mhm,
I am appreciative to see when people have these wonderful women in their lives because I know what that was like. And
Hmm.
I'm always like kudos, high five to anytime I see it. Um, it's a wonderful thing because when you go back and you look at, I don't care what type of religion you're in, all of them say, well, in Islam talked about women are half your deen, right?
Hmm.
And they talk about in all these different religious texts, like you have someone behind you or beside you, whatever, right? It's gonna make all the difference, and you have this thing inside of you that you build from there. That's kind of what I started about today, talking about that you getting that constant energy right away, not like somebody across the world or across another state feeding that to you. You
mm,
get that in real time, and that intentional. I don't know if you heard everything or something in the beginning, Kevin,
I did.
about
I did.
about water. And you think about when you think about the crystal effect, the science behind that. There is science behind this whole thing of having that support and all that. So listen, I'm sure that made all the difference in you getting out here and taking leap of faith and continuing doing what you're doing. I do have a question with that though. So
Sure.
how important? What's more important to have a will or a trust?
So, I mean, you want to have both, but a will definitely give you, you know, will give the instructions
Hmm.
for you know, your life, right? So when you have a will, you give the instructions to tell, you know, how you want to go out in terms of, you know, if you're unresponsive, do you want someone to, you know, try to bring you back? Do you want them to just let you go out on your own, you know, devices at that point? A
Mhm.
will also direct and give the instructions as far as like who gets your stuff,
Mm.
right? Who gets everything? You know, most of the time when people don't have wills and they have things like assets and they have loved ones, there's they have to go through probate.
Yeah.
They have to go through a situation where they're going to have to, you know, let the courts decide who gets what, and then they have to pay a fee for that as well. They have to pay an attorney for that.
So you wouldn't have a pro. You wouldn't go to probate if you had a trust, correct?
You wouldn't go to probate if you had a trust. A trust would be if you have a lot of you have properties and you have assets that you want to pass on, and you really want to you want it to be a generational continuous growth. So like for instance, we, you know, again, when my mom passed, it was all the things I had been thinking about the last 2 years. We just put into motion. So we put, you know, property in trust. We put, you know, insurances in trust. We put everything we could that was of value into trust, with the goal that it would pass down to, you know, our kids and
Hmm.
their kids and their kids, so forth and so on. So it's important to have that. I think most people they don't realize it doesn't cost as much as you think to put a trust together. You can actually get a will done for free. You know, I actually have a service where you can get a will done, you know, for free. You just punch in your information. All you have to do is get it notarized.
Mm.
And I can share that for you guys as well. But I also have attorneys on staff that can do, you know, trust and work with any levels of people. So it doesn't matter, you know. But if you have more items, more assets, more property, then you know it's probably going to cost a little bit more. But for the most part, they'll work with you. So again, to answer your question, I would say have both. I don't know if it's more important to have one over the other. I would say have both at the end of
Okay.
the day.
Okay. Cool. I've got more
Good.
questions, but I'll leave it
Great
to you.
advice. Great advice. Um, let's see. I actually I like that you mentioned that, especially about trust, because so many of my friends talk about it, and for the same reason you just mentioned. And my good friend Gordon is always preaching on social media about people doing things and investing and putting things in trust and leave your legacy and kind of do things for the future of your family and so on and so forth. So it's good to hear that from a professional like you. And I consider him a professional too, because his life skills has put him in a place where he can actually say a lot of these things and truly back it up. He has receipts. So
Right.
just want to say, Kevin, thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you. And I got to tell you, you know, we talked about just this whole self care thing when it comes to dealing with grief. Um, I would have been things would have been catastrophic for me had I
Mm,
not had life insurance.
mm,
Mm.
So, and I've talked to other people; they've had it. It's made all the difference because you just never know, and sometimes you got to prepare yourself for the inevitable, right?
Mm.
And so, I mean, thank you for sharing what you do and all that you do. But I would say for anybody, just get life insurance. Just get even if it's something, right? But
right.
can't do nothing.
Well, you know, the thing is, I think most people think when you say life insurance,
Hmm.
they think it's death insurance,
Hmm.
and it's not necessarily the truth. That is part of it. You can use it you know, specifically for death, but it's really meant to be used for life. It's really
Mm.
meant to be used while you are alive so
Mm,
that you benefit from it. And the way it's been taught to us in the community is just it's been all wrong. So when I talk to people, the first thing I have to say to them, after I tell them, hey, I offer life insurance, I kind of have to brace myself because they got this guard that they throw up right away, right? It's like, oh, life
Mhm.
insurance, no, I'm all set. I got,
Yeah,
because of
exactly.
past experience, thing they've heard before, or someone who may not had a positive experience before. So I
mhm.
always have to buffer right away. Yeah, life insurance, however, it's living benefits. It's for now. It's not for when you leave this earth, right?
Right.
And I talk more about that. I said, it's the same thing that you do every day, right? You put money in the bank. The bank takes your money, they invest it, they give you pennies on the dollar for the money that they invested. They say, thank you, come again, right?
Right.
Life insurance gives you the opportunity to be your own bank.
Mm.
You can put that money into your own account, into your own system. That money can grow, can gain high yield compound interest. You can borrow against that money. You can use that money for whatever you want to use it for. Kids can use it for college. Parents can use it for starting a business, paying off the house, retirement. So there are a lot of different ways and benefits that you can use it. It's not just for death. So I'd like to make that clear because a lot of people think right away, life insurance is for death. Totally wrong. Part of it, but you want to be able to use it now.
So when you borrow against your policy, do you have a certain period of time when you pay it back? You have to pay it back by?
So the really cool thing about it is it can go a couple of different ways. So you can borrow against the money that's in your account. If you don't pay the money back, the money will be deducted from your death benefit. For instance, say you have $1 million in, coverage, $1 million in death benefits, and you borrow, 300,000 or 200,000, whatever, from your account. You have a cash accumulation of that amount of money. You borrowed that amount of money to pay off whatever you needed to pay, you know, for whatever. You don't pay that money back. That $1 million now drops to 800,000, and that's pretty much it.
Mm.
You can pay yourself back at a lower rate of like 5%, which is still would be better than borrowing from the bank or borrowing from any other loan company. The best person to borrow from would be yourself.
Right.
So a couple of different ways. You can borrow, pay yourself back at a low interest rate. If you aren't able to buy it, let's say you borrow, you buy into a business, that business doesn't work, guess what? That money just gets deducted off your death benefits later on. So instead of your family getting $1 million or whatever the amount of coverage it was, they'll just get whatever it is minus what you took out to pay for, your ventures.
Good. That's nice to know. Um, the I had a lot of family members that uh just didn't just didn't listen to me to get something, some kind of policy. Get something. I think it's better than relying on some GoFundMe page where
Yeah. It's true.
something it's not guaranteed. And if you're paying your policy, you definitely have some guarantees to help you out or help someone else with their life later on, as you mentioned. So, truly, truly, always encouraging people to do that, do something, speak to the right people, right professionals like you, and get something started. Because um, I I had the unfortunate situation where
Mhm.
I ended up paying for two funerals that I
Mm.
truly, truly couldn't afford. But
Mm.
it was definitely getting taken from me, you know, uh, on a weekly basis, and it took me a while to pay for that. And I didn't know. Definitely didn't have any guidance on it. I had a little guidance, from my own work experiences. But however, the people that
Mm-hmm.
I buried
Mm.
just didn't care. And I say just don't care because of I end up moving things from both their apartments and know how much money they were spending. So
Mm,
they could have definitely clearly grabbed a smaller policy that they could have paid for. So
mm,
very easily. Um,
Absolutely. You mentioned something that's very dear to me in terms of seeing people putting out GoFundMe, requests and different accounts like that. Like, I don't mean to down anyone. Sometimes you're just in a situation you got to do what you got to do. I get that.
hmm
But my goal is when I talk to people is to let them know it doesn't cost as much as you think it does to get something small so that you can take care of your loved ones,
hmm
right? You know, and people say, well, I don't have the money to do this, I don't have the money to do that. Yet, they're out at the club, they got on some new sneakers, the
Exactly.
fits are on point,
Yeah.
and
Preaching, man. Preaching.
I'm I'm just saying the priorities are all over the place, and I get it. I get it. But at the same time, you can take, you know, $50, $100, or whatever the case may be is, and put that towards something that would be beneficial for you and your family. Um, and then I just want to add one more thing too. People are throwing around the words generational wealth a lot,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like a lot of people are missing the boat when it comes to that
Mm,
because this is when you're talking about living benefits, insurance, this is the opportunity where you can create generational wealth, right? I mean, of course, you have things that are in the market. Of course, you have real estate. Of course, you have now gold and silver that has been going up. You have crypto. All of those are needed and beneficial. But when you have a living benefit life insurance account, it grows with a guarantee. It doesn't drop when the market drops. When you go to take that money out, it's tax free.
mm,
Most people don't know that.
Mm.
yes.
That's,
As that money grows, you can pass that money off to the next generation. I think
mm,
people may have, or hopefully you have heard of the Rockefellers and what they did, right? So John D. Rockefeller went out, got insurance policies on all the kids and the grandkids. They tied that into a trust, made sure the beneficiaries was the trust. Every time a new kid was born, a new family member was born, they add a new life insurance policy and they'd attach it to the trust. And as people pass away, the death benefit would go into the trust and it would continue to build up.
mm,
So this has happened for generations and generations and generations. And if you Google the richest family in the world is the Rockefellers.
Mm,
You know, of course there are other things they did to become rich, but this is one of the main things they did to stay rich. It stayed within their family, it stayed within their bloodline. So whenever a family member needs something, they just go to the trust. They have a board of directors, they have to get permission. If it's a business, they have to write a business plan. They get that money and they start whatever it is they need to start, using that money. But you're talking about generations and generations of wealth that has been carried over and over and over again. And this is something that all of us can do right now.
mm,
You know, it doesn't have to start with millions and millions of dollars, but you have some young, healthy people in your family, you can get $1 million in coverage for dirt cheap. You know, you can put together a fund to, you know, get one of the elders in your family coverage and attach that to a trust. You can team up, and create generational wealth for your family. It just takes, a little bit of effort. It takes some knowledge. You have someone like me, you have other people who I work with. You mentioned Gordon, great friend of mine as well, great guy. Um, but all these people have this knowledge and this information, and they have the receipts, like you said, Charlie.
Hmm.
So talk to us, ask us these questions, get the information. Not only get the information, but put it into effect. You know, do something with it. Because when you look at the generation wealth gap, we are still on the very, very bottom. And
Absolutely.
I say we in terms of people of color.
Hmm.
So I just want to share that to say that this is a great opportunity to create generational wealth. It doesn't take as much as what people think, and we have access to all the tools to do it.
I think one of the things I think you said is so important. Like, we live in the world now where everybody wants to know the how. Well, how? How? And I think going to someone like you is the how, because we always want to know, well, how? How
Mm,
do you do that, right? And so go to somebody like you and you get the how.
absolutely. My one of my goals is to of course support the community, but I like to simplify the complex financial concepts. I like to make it simple for people, right? Create structured personal plans for people. Um, but I'm real with it at the same time. I talked to someone the other day. They were just spending their money on things that didn't make any sense, and I had to be real with this person. And I said, if you look at the last 5 years, where did your money go? And I said, where do you think it's going to go in the next 5 years? And so we
Right,
had to have a real talk and figure out, where this person was losing money, what they were spending on, which was practically nothing.
right.
Um, but we redirected and we put a financial plan together for this person, and they're going to be well off in the future because of that.
That's great, man.
It's I think people have to understand not only insurance, but you have to understand how you're going to retire. People having a retirement strategy, having an emergency savings plan, having an estate plan. And we don't think about it until when it's time to pay it, but having a tax efficiency plan. These are things that I help and I talk about when I sit down with somebody. I don't just say, "Hey, let's just get you a policy. Let's do a transactional deal. Thank you for your service. Peace out." I don't do that.
Of
I
course.
go through a whole holistic plan with them, and we lay everything out. I tell people I work with people helping support financial planning from birth to death and beyond. You know, and it's that important to me. Everyone I speak to, everyone I've worked with, are important to me, and I cherish them and I thank them. And I'm very grateful at the same time. I don't just take it for granted that they spent some time with me to share their information and gave me the opportunity to help them and help their family.
That's great. That's great. I appreciate all you do, brother.
Yes, second that, man. Second that.
Thank you.
The let's see. Um, Speaking of the devil, I don't mean that. I love Gordon. Gordon Woodbury is
My,
the man.
my boy told me a long time ago, don't say speaking of the devil, man. He said speaking of the angel. He said
Yeah,
change it around because I said it one time. He said, "Who you calling the devil?" And I said, "Oh, you're right. You're right." So
he's
I would say that.
he's a angel with a cowboy's hat.
Yes, sir.
There
Yes,
you
sir.
go. There you go.
The Yeah, good man, and truly now. Let me ask you something about Gordon, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Did you see that amazing thing he did with the land that he had, and he raffled it off, and
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely
that's
amazing.
yeah, 5 stars,
It's
five stars.
it takes brothers like Gordon, to set it off,
Hmm.
right? Put things like that in motion because I feel like there's going to be more people that's going to follow suit, right? At least that's what I hope. I hope to see more people kind of look at what Gordon did, getting that land and gifting it, to some great people. to Rich and Mahler. I know great people. I know them as well. But I think more people should follow in his footsteps by doing those things. And
Exactly.
you know,
So true.
the more people that do that, the better off we're going to be. I mean, all this land that's available. uh, Again, just like the same thing in insurance, it doesn't take as much as what people think it does to acquire these land. The land is available.
Hmm.
Also, land is easier to sell than a house. I'm telling you from a real estate perspective.
Right on.
Nice.
So,
Very, very nice.
but
The
Kevin, it's great to have you on, and
yes.
really great to have you on, brother. I'm glad you all is well with you. I'm glad you're doing well business wise. Glad you're doing well with your family, and you gotta keep pushing, brother.
I appreciate you, man. Like I said, I appreciate you having me on and
Of
being
course.
able to just share a couple of words. I hope it was helpful and
Oh yeah.
maybe added some value to what you guys are talking about and what you guys do. And I appreciate what you guys do at the same time. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. And I truly am very, very happy that got you on there. Took us 2 times, and but we understand, and because this is what we expected. We expected Kevin to come out like this with 5 stars, and he did. And I truly, truly appreciate you taking your time because you can be doing something else, and you chose to come on with us, and I truly appreciate that.
Thank you,
That's
brother.
right.
I would just say at the very end, anyone who has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can tap in on any of the social media. Most of you who are listening, you may know me personally. Feel free to just reach out. I think my information is being scrolled on the bottom as well. I do free consultations. I do free reviews of existing policies and account plans. So feel free just to tap in whenever. I'm here to help.
That's right.
Awesome, awesome. I will. I will actually be creating some clips of this podcast, and I'll send them to Marvin. He can send them to you. Um, we'll get that started sometime tonight, and you guys should have it tomorrow morning. Um,
That's great. Thank
uh, your buddy Timothy says good info shared, my
you.
brother.
That's
Yeah,
one of
good info shared.
my
Yeah,
day one right there, man. We go way back.
that's nice. That's nice.
Very nice.
The
Very
good.
nice.
I like to see people coming onto the screen from YouTube. That's real special. Please, Mr. Wright, please like and subscribe to the channel. It's real important. We really truly appreciate it. So, all
All
right,
of
Marvin, Kevin,
It's time.
I
It's time.
all right. We'll be back next week, same time, same bat time as always, and it's every
Please
Wednesday.
share, and subscribe.
Yes. Um, all right, you guys are a whole lot warmer than I am. And
Yeah, it's been chilly today.
oh, all right. Well, you
you
forget I
said,
lived in L. You,
I got my
I
sweat on.
lived in L.A. and
That's right.
I was never chilly at
Well,
all in
this is
L.A.
our rainy season, brother. So we get hit for about a good month, and then we're back out of it for 6 months. No rain.
Yeah,
So
there's that good old song by was it Tony? Never
never
rains in
rains in
Southern
Southern California.
Yeah, it's so true, man.
When it rains, it rains though.
Rains. Yeah.
Hey, and ain't they from Oakland? I gotta look that up, man. Now that I think of it.
I think
But
so.
most of their life was in LA because of the music industry. So I get it. I get
That's
it.
right.
They
Everybody
can
wants to
definitely,
come to LA.
yeah, they can definitely they live the experience. All right, y'all.
Yes.
Take care and God bless, and I'll keep in touch with both of you. And definitely have a lot of friends and family across the country. So if I can, I'm gonna send them your way, Kevin. And I appreciate you.
Be happy to help. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, my
All right,
brother.
awesome. All right, we're gonna end with our beautiful intro. I mean
Let's do our
outro.
song. Let's do our
Hey,
song.
didn't you have something to say?
For me?
Didn't you? Yeah, didn't you want to?
No, I said everything I needed to say in the beginning.
All right. Well, I love you, brother. God
Love you,
bless. We'll text throughout the week, and if you
bro.
need me, give me a holler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kevin, high five, man. 5 stars for you, man.
Charlie, I appreciate you, brother.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you too.
Welcome to Sometimes You Have to Lose Yourself, a podcast where we explore the complexities of love, loss, and self-discovery. Join Charlie Perry and Marvin Speller when life's unexpected twists and turns come our way. It's easy to lose ourselves in the process, but what if losing ourselves is exactly what we need to find our true selves? Join us as we dive into the depths of human experience, sharing stories, insights, and conversations that will challenge, inspire, and maybe even help you find your way again. Sometimes you have to lose yourself. Let's get started.